do them. In order to cycle and run, first, I would have to swim. And this was my greatest fear of all. The thought of swimming in a competitive environment was absolutely terrifying. I was worried about being able to control my breathing while doing front crawl, a technique I had only recently learned. I was petrified of the other swimmers, who would be splashing and bumping into me as they swam with all their might to go as fast as they could. But most of all, I was worried about simply being in the water. This wasn't just usual pre-race nerves. It was a debilitating anxiety. It stemmed from a childhood incident where I witnessed my younger sister, Jackie, almost drown in an icy river. She survived unscathed, but the experience scarred me for life. Being near or in water immediately makes me recall the horror and helplessness I felt that day. They say you have to face your fears to truly defeat them. And that's why I had entered the triathlon race, to try to do just that. I was now 56 years old. I had avoided it for long enough. It was time to dive in and finally overcome my phobia. So I picked up my kit bag and told Tim I was off, even though I wanted to stay at home. He gave me a hug and wished me luck, then came to help me put my stuff into the car. "Come on, Mimi, you can do this," I told myself as I headed out the door. When I put my mind to a long-distance running goal, I was determined to see it through. I now had to apply that same determination to triathlon. I racked up my bike on the car as Tim put my bags on the front seat. All I needed to do was get myself in and go. But as I went to open the car door, my resolve wobbled again. "I can't go," I told Tim. "Really?" he said with surprise. "You're not going to try?" He knew I had been preparing for this for weeks, and I wasn't usually a quitter. I thought about it some more. I really didn't want to do it. But at the same time, I knew how disappointed I would be with myself if I didn't. If I stayed at home, I would be kicking myself for the rest of the day and only end up entering another triathlon. Not only that, my friends from Wheeled Triathlon Club that I had joined the year before were expecting to see me there. Others who followed me online were also waiting to hear how I got on, as I had been sharing my triathlon journey on social media. How could I tell everyone that I didn't do it because I was too scared? I had even chosen a triathlon with the easier option of a swim in a leisure center pool over a scarier open water one. But to me, it was still just as intimidating. I felt so nervous even thinking about being in the water again. I thought I was going to be sick right there on our driveway. I was on the verge of bursting into tears. How had it come to this? I had once won ultramarathons in the desert and the Arctic, and set world records for running across Britain and Ireland. Now I was ready to back out of a race before even making it to the start line. Petrified, fearful, unsure of myself and what my body was capable of. Could I overcome my fears and become a triathlete? Part 1. Running America for a World Record. Chapter 1. The American Dream. If you had told me in 2016 that becoming a triathlete would be a huge target of mine, I would have thought you were bonkers. I had my long-standing fear of water and was happy to keep avoiding it. I barely rode a bike, and running 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles, wasn't challenging for me then. At that time, I was fully ensconced in the ultra-running world and preparing to take on my biggest challenge yet, attempting to set a new Guinness World Record running across America in the fastest time for a woman. I would start at City Hall in LA and finish on the steps of City Hall in New York, running 2,850 miles, 4,587 kilometers in between. I had been working towards this goal for a long time, but to say it had always been a dream of mine...